Welcome to this edition of the Tiger Men's Lacrosse Report. I'm your host, Spiro Marikas, along with the head coach of the Tigers, Sean Adlin, and coach of the Tigers on Friday night. Ventured up to Philly to take on St. Joe's, a team that was coming off a big victory against Villanova. You were coming off a big victory against Navy. You jumped out to an early lead, but things started to change, and you end up losing a tough one, 12-11. And not seeing the game, but just looking at the stats, I'm sure the two things that stick out to you as the negative: 19 turnovers and just 12 of 17 on the clears.
Yeah, the turnovers, we're not helpful. We came out fast. I thought we came out with good energy, kind of put them on their heels a little bit, but they're a strong team, a very good team. We've known this from playing them in the years past, and they were able to kind of counterpunch and get back into the game, and they just, I think, played a better game than us throughout the course of it. Even though we had that early lead. Again, the careless turnovers, they do a good job in their 10-man ride, but again, we didn't play poised enough against it. We had good opportunities to clear it, but didn't.
The positives out of that game, though, and again, you had spread out scoring. You had 7 different guys score, and you were very good on the faceoffs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we were excited about what the faceoff looked like. Kai did a really good job against their main guy, and he procedured a few times, which allowed us early in the game to get some momentum with some offensive possessions. But we still had a few mishaps in the middle of the field off of the faceoff that provided opportunity for them and scoring opportunities, which again we need to clean up. We need to play smarter in those instances. But again, it's something that we got to continue to focus on.
Joaquin Villagomez had a rough day against Johns Hopkins. He certainly bounced back the last 2 games against Navy and St. Joe's.
Yeah, I think we talked about it coming out of that Hopkins game. I feel like his, missing the full year last year, coming back his first game, it's kid in a candy shop. He's just trying to find his shot and his stroke again, and get him to get that out of his system. And the past 2 games have been solid for him. As you mentioned, our offense was well balanced. Our guys did a good job sharing the ball, creating good opportunities, and putting it back, putting it behind the net. Had a great flurry to try to tie it up, and then just couldn't quite get it past their guy. It was basically falling over, and and we were getting mauled at the same time trying to shoot.
All right. That's in the past.
Mm-hmm.
Now the future, you got 2 games coming up. Friday night at home against UMBC, and then a week from today, as we film on Tuesday, against Loyola over at Ridley Field. Looking at UMBC, they've lost to Drexel and to Loyola. They have been excellent at clearing the ball in their first 2 games, 35 out of 36, so they're a team that does take care of the ball.
They do. Watching them on film, well structured. They do a good job manipulating the ride. Neither team, Drexel or Loyola, really challenge them too much with like a 10-man ride or too aggressive in that regard. Not that that's easy to clear against at the same time, but they do a good job, I think, understanding what to look for and transitioning the ball up the field. And they actually play today against Mount St. Mary's. So.
And on their coaching staff, going to have a little bit of a rivalry here, as one of your assistants, Andy Schilling, his son Luke, is an assistant at UMBC.
Oh yeah.
What's that dynamic going to be like?
The Schilling Bowl, man. We're excited.
What's that going to be like as you look ahead to Friday night's game?
Yeah, it's cool. Our coach Schilling is awesome and has done a great job. And Luke played here. He's taking a lot of what we've done, what he experienced here on the offensive end into what they're doing at UMBC. You can kind of see some of that, and it's been fun to see Luke on the recruiting trail, on the sidelines, and the father-son duo just kind of being with each other. But there's no doubt they want to beat each other, come Friday night.
And then on Tuesday, you play Loyola at Ridley. They just had a victory over UMBC, lost a couple of tough games early on to Hopkins and others, but they've got Mason Cook, who's got 10 goals in the first 3 games for them, so somebody you really have to watch on the offensive end.
Yeah, Mason's, a shoot first, shoot second kind of guy. He's been that way since high school. He played, locally here at Loyola Blakefield and watched him into college now. He's a guy that works hard to get his shots off, and he can let it fly. So he's having good success. Last year they were really young, Loyola. So, I'd expect to see this year. We haven't really looked, too far into them, besides seeing them against UMBC, but, seeing a more mature team, having a year under their belt with a lot of young guys getting experience last year. I think their goalies, pretty solid from what I could tell. And they're always, just a dangerous team in transition, which, you really have to prepare for.
All right, let me ask you this, and I know you're focused solely on your team and your opponents that you're going to play, but it's been a crazy start to this lacrosse season. This past week, the poll had 6 teams getting first place votes. Have you ever seen anything like that?
No, I don't really look at it, so I think that's a lot. Like I said, to get first place votes, so that's definitely surprising. But yeah, I don't really look at who's where and jockeying for that. So
You guys are also tunnel vision.
not all of us, but I am, yes.
All right, so the Tigers will take on UMBC Friday night, 6 o'clock. Hope you can make it out to Johnny Unitas Stadium. If not, Glenn Smith and I will have it for you on Monumental Sports. So for the head coach of the Tigers, Sean Nadlin, I'm Spiro Marikas. Thanks for tuning in to another edition of the Tiger Men's Lacrosse Report.